Mary's first episode was 20 years ago. She was 50, she's 70 now. The first episode, I remember clearly. She arose from a good night's sleep, felt fine, and then in 20-30 minutes she felt extremely weak, tired, and went to bed. She slept 6 to 8 hours that day, and then 10 hours that night, and that continued for the next 1 or 2 or 3 days. I don't remember specifically. Following that first episode, the episodes would come at a frequency of approximately every 2 or 3 months, and over the course of time the frequency increased. Also, she did suffer from a lot of depression. I don't know if that was separate from that or whether it was part of the syndrome. And she probably was suffering from the same syndrome years before the first episode. Approximately 1998, we moved, and we had a primary physician, Dr. Enoch. I requested of Dr. Enoch that he refers to an endocrinologist, which he did. The endocrinologist was a Dr. Maldonado Brem, who I believe is now in Maryland. She took Mary from low normal to above normal thyroxine, and there was no change in her symptoms. And we've been muddling through, we've been dealing with this for, as I say, 20 years, and it's getting worse. Initially, the symptoms were just the weakness and the fatigue, probably with headache and probably depression. The symptoms, as well as the frequency, has increased over the years. Symptoms include headache, nausea, stomach pain, chills, sweats, reaction to bright flashing lights. The sweats, for about a year and a half, she felt warm internally virtually all the time, night and day. She sat in front of a fan, slept in front of a fan. It was virtually 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And also, she would on occasion have chills so bad that I would put her to bed, cover her with every comforter that we had, put a heater in or an electric blanket on top of her to get her out of it. Chills haven't been that often. There have been other symptoms, but I've mentioned the primary ones. She also, one symptom that she has is she often feels as if she's not really all there, like an out-of-body sensation. And of course the depression continued. The frequency increased over the years until at its worst, as far as the frequency, she was having 1, 2, maybe even 3 episodes a month. The longest episode that she had lasted 60 days. That was 60 days of sleeping 4, 5, 6 hours during the day and then at night as well. I'm sure she had some better days in that 60 days, but basically that lasted for 60 days. I happen to believe that that was primarily, the extension was primarily due to depression. When she has an episode and it's a difficult one, it's hard to describe how bad it is and how badly she feels and how depressed she gets from it. It's horrible. And we've been dealing with this for 20 years. Of course, the last 10 and 5 and 4 and 3 and 2 have been the worst. Uh, she's had the last two major episodes that she has had have been frighteningly bad. In February of 2010, I don't know what she ate during the day, but for our evening meal, we had a meal consisting of fried uh, onion rings. What's the word I want? Oh, well, anyway, onion rings. And she had a single glass of wine. Enjoyed the meal, felt great. We were watching TV that night. About 4 hours later, and I glanced over at her. I could tell she was not feeling well. She acknowledged that. She was so weak, I could hardly get her up 7 steps to bed, where she flopped on the bed. Uh, I asked her if she wanted to go to the emergency room. She said no, but after just a couple of minutes, I called an ambulance. Before the ambulance came, I did check her blood sugar. At that time, with my monitor, it was 54, which is pretty low. So I pointed that out to the emergency room physician, and he reluctantly ordered a glucose tolerance test. Before the test, I talked to the primary physician, Dr. Enoch. I suggested that there might be a better test than the one that she was going to have. She had a 5-hour glucose tolerance test, oral, and while she was taking the test, she basically went into an episode. She became very weak. She became sick to her stomach. She became cold. They laid her down. They put a blanket on her. She finished the test. When she got home, she slept for 4 straight hours. To me, that was saying that that blood sugar, at that time I thought just blood sugar was the culprit. And so we followed that by her changing her diet. Her diet was always good. She never ate a lot of sweets. She ate a lot of fruits and vegetables, not very much protein, no milk, no calcium to amount to anything. And we improved her diet until she had more protein, less carbohydrates, virtually avoided anything sweet. And she was able to go approximately 1 full year without a major problem. But then the episodes came back, well, let's see, 12 months, March of 2011. And we dealt with them again. And then she had an episode, oh, forgive me, I think it was in September. I do remember that day she ate 1 egg, toast, and hash browns, coffee, and through the day we were busy, and she didn't eat anything through the day. That night she had spaghetti, no meat, just pasta and sauce, and at about 5 o'clock in the morning, she ate it about 6:30 that evening. At about 10, 11 hours later, she was awakened in the night, had to go to the bathroom. At that moment, she felt good. When she got back from the bathroom, she became very ill, extremely weak, was very nauseous. She threw up perhaps a tablespoon of colored liquid. I called the ambulance again. They had her there for 3 or 4 hours, sent her home, and her pattern had been that she would begin to respond and recover from an episode in the next day or two, but this time she was not. She was not any better at all, and I can't tell you how difficult it was for me to get her admitted into the hospital, but I was able to get her admitted into the hospital and hoping that I could get some testing done, but unfortunately nothing really happened. After, let's see, I guess it was about 2 weeks after she came home from the hospital, and again, she didn't recover from that episode. It took her days. whereas normally a day or two after the episode's over, she's pretty much normal. Ooh, I'm running out of time. Okay, quickly. Things that have helped. Magnesium, which she's been taking for over 10 years, seemed to have an effect on it. Coenzyme Q10 had a dramatic effect on it. She went 60 wonderful days when she first began to take it. Just wonderful. She felt, no episodes have felt better than she had in 10 years at least. Almost all of her testing has been in the normal range, with the exception of this glucose tolerance test with insulin, which, as you can see from the results that Dr. Enoch sent you, her insulin was off the charts. I would go on and on. I wish I could talk to you before we come out. I wish you would ask me questions. You have my phone number. Look, I want a diagnosis. I want my wife to feel good almost every day. And this has been so hard on us. And it's getting worse. One of these times it's going to kill her. I thank you for your time. Thank you.